Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. I'm your host, Ross Warren. Today, for your update of this $2,000 a month, I really wanted to quickly give you some information so you can also track it the way I'm tracking it. And right now, I've been looking for the bill to dive into the details, but for some reason, the federal government is not going to release the bill because it's been introduced to the House. Now, I'm also going to give you an update for the Free Rent, No Mortgage Act as well. Unfortunately, I have the bill, but I don't see that it's actually being introduced to the House. So let's dive into first on one of my favorite websites to track this sort of information. It is the governmenttrack.us. Okay, governmenttrack.us. And again, if you saw one of my updates, you've seen this website. And it basically gives you the information, the name of it, but it doesn't really give you any details, but it actually gives you the source where you can find the actual bill. So then I go over to Congress, and this website is extravagant, right? It has a lot of things going on, but the great thing about it, because it's such a popular bill, you go right to top 10, you click top 10, and it brings you to most viewed bills. And the name of his is the House of Representatives 6496, okay? To provide the emergency monthly payments to every American throughout the duration of the coronavirus crisis, to be provided by the Department of the Treasury in consultation with other federal and state agencies, okay? And once you click on the hyperlink here, now you get the information of who's the sponsor. And what I like to see is also when you guys are voting in your congressmen, and some of you want this bill, some of you don't. Now, majority of people want this bill to pass, but there are some people who really don't want this bill to pass for whatever reason. See, this is what I like to go to. What I like to go is to the co-sponsors. Who are the other representatives who are sponsoring this bill? So they have co-sponsors. You see the co-sponsors number, HR 6496 is the actual bill. And then you go into all these representatives that is really co-sponsoring this bill since the day it was introduced. Now, here's your tracking. It says bill, and it gives you all the adjacent information. It gives you the committee, the last action was on April 14th, and then it says introduce. It hasn't passed the House, hasn't passed the Senate, it's not to the president, it hasn't became law. So this is a great way to track these particular bills. Now, granted, I did tell you, we're gonna go back and look at the bill that Representative Ilhan Omar is the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020. Now, it said that was introduced on April 17th, 2020, but I do not see it on this website at all. I do not see it because a lot of these things you can actually go by the day. So if I go here to top 10 again, and I scroll down, and I'm looking for April 17th. Now, first and foremost, I don't see any bill that was introduced on April 17th. I see April 12th, I don't see the bill. April 19th, I don't see the bill. I just see Tim Ryan's bill, the $2,000 a month. Now, if you hear some people everywhere online, all different sources are saying $2,000 initially, then $1,000 a month after that, or $1,200 a month. Right now, none of that has been introduced. Only the original bill has been introduced, because you got to go to the source, which is congress.gov, and really decipher this information. So if we go back over to here, which is funny to me, House of Representative Bill 6515, she has this on a downloadable PDF file, which the other one that was actually introduced of the $2,000 is not even there. Now, I'm gonna go over some of the topics. We're not gonna read this entire bill, it's enormous. Okay, but let's read some of the bold titles here that I went over earlier, because I read most of the bill. You can see certain fines, civil actions that people will pay money, $50,000 forfeiture of the property. These are some of the details in the bill. But like some people worry about the landlord relief fund. Like if you're a landlord, you worry about getting your money, then they have protection for you as well within this bill. Okay, so a lot of people worry about these things, but the suspension of obligations to make residential, mortgage, and rent payments, okay? The suspension, you don't have to pay anymore, and it would be backdated from April, okay? This act may be cited as the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act of 2020. They get into the details of paying rent. It says notwithstanding or any other provision of law, the obligation of each tenant, household or covered rental dwelling unit to pay rent for occupancy in such dwelling unit shall be suspended with respect to such occupancy during the COVID-19 suspension period. Then it gives all these debts and repayments and credits. Of course, I don't want to bore you with this information, but it's really good information if you know what the bill is contained. Now, do I want this bill to pass? Absolutely, I want this bill to pass. But again, let's go to another bold title because there's a lot of information within each. You can tell this is a very, very large bill. Then you have the Affordable Housing Acquisition Fund. Okay, and that's another sort of information. If you go to one of the sub paragraphs, it shows that tenants have access to safe and habitable housing conditions regardless of their landlord's ability to pay for repairs and maintenance during after the COVID-19 pandemic. Think about that. Ensure that tenants have access to safe and habitable housing conditions regardless of their landlord's ability to pay for repairs and maintenance. So they're like, no, you will get these things fixed. It's a very aggressive bill. Also notice too, eligible purchases. Like if you keep going down there, it's a phenomenal bill. I'm surprised that it was written so quickly. And I've read, like I said, most of it, but it's a really, really aggressive bill. And the question to you guys is, do I believe it's going to get passed? Again, I don't believe the entire bill will get passed, but I do believe that elements and pieces and parts, all sorts of things will be passed in that nature. And I really do hope that it gets passed. I really do hope that it gets passed. But if you wanted to track this for yourself, like I am tracking it, I'm tracking on congress.gov. Again, I see the $2,000 a month one being tracked. And it's only been introduced to the House. It hasn't passed the House, hasn't passed the Senate, it hasn't went to the president, and it has not been passed into law. So right now, is this teeter-tottering? It's been introduced. As far as the no rent, no mortgage, free rent, no mortgage cancellation act of 2020, from what I can tell, I can't find it on congress.gov. So essentially it's been proposed, but not introduced to the House. So it's not even beyond a committee. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, stop here for your updates. I'll try to do the best I can to keep you guys really informed about what's going on so you have some sort of predictability down the line. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Learn money and be inspired. All right, guys, you take care of yourself.